Hello and welcome to the Celtic Druid channel. You're very welcome here. And today I'm going to be reviewing Doctor Who, the Abominable Snowmen. Abominable Snowmen. Which was animated recently and possibly one of the last for a while. It's no secret to my family and friends that I love science fiction. And primarily Doctor Who. It's all harmless fun. It's not taken seriously and it's just a family show really. In the 17th century, an old Tibetan friend of the Doctor's reached out and touched the mind of an alien disembodied energy known as the Great Intelligence, giving it a conduit to Earth. 300 years later, the Doctor revisits the Himalayas because he wants to return to the Holy Ganta, an ancient relic he was given many centuries ago by the grateful monks and their master Padmasambhava. Try saying that when you're drunk. And Descent Monastery. On arriving, however, the Doctor is treated as a villain, blamed for a series of brutal murders. And in the area, Jamie and Victoria meanwhile discover the true culprits and the previously peaceful Yeti that live seclusion on the mountainside have apparently been turned violent. I wonder why. I'll tell you that in a minute. The Doctor must convince the monks that he's not their enemy, but the real foe and the power controlling the Yeti is living amongst them. We're going to find out who that is. The Abominable Snowmen is a largely missing six-parter, which is missing from the BBC archives. Only episode 2 remains, which I own anyway. Before I had the DVD, that was a Father's Day gift. And but all 6 episodes were animated anyway, over audio recordings, off-air recordings by a fan who only just put his tape recorder up to the television with a microphone and recorded it that way. Not exactly sophisticated, is it? But with no video recorders back in them days, what else could you do? My grandfather Bill used to do the same. But we are grateful for that because for those of you who don't like science fiction, I do a little bit of everything, a bit of poetry, a bit of sci-fi, a bit of paranormal. This is me, Andrew. This is what you get. Yeah. Now the story of the Abominable Snowmen is the second story of the 5th season, which was transmitted on BBC One from the 30th of September to the 4th of November 1967, 2 years before I was born. And it starred Patrick Troughton as the second Doctor, a favourite of many no doubt, and also Fraser Hines, yes, Fraser Hines from Emmerdale, and Deborah Watling. Now I met Fraser Hines and also Deborah Watling, sadly no longer with us. She's been in a number of films and Take Me High as well, where she starred alongside Cliff Richard, and yeah, later in my opinion. Now the story is set in Tibet in the Himalayas, but it's actually filmed in Snowdonia in North Wales. The story was set in the year 1935, but well, the Yetis, obviously you could see there were men in costumes, but are turned savage by under the control of the Great Intelligence, which returned years later, which is an entirely different villain altogether. Now, one of the number of issues that I've heard over the years about the story from people and their reviews is the actual pacing and slow. There is no incidental music either. It's no music, not even dramatic music at all. So it's just atmospheric, but good, yeah. But the secret is not to watch it in one whole day, or rather than one sitting, because you just die of boredom. But I watched it on, as well, as soon as I had it for Father's Day. I watched episode 1 on that Sunday, and I watched it an episode a day, really, and I got it out that way. To be honest, I'm not really impressed by the animation at all. I haven't watched the colour version yet, preferring the black and white as it was originally was, or intended to be. So, better atmosphere that way. Yeah, but I wasn't really impressed. They looked too cardboardy, like Bod, and the way they were moving about, looked too much 2D. Whereas I much prefer the telesnaps, and for those who haven't watched, I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's quite impressed. It's almost like watching the episode, even though they were stills, and I'm glad that we have episode 2. So yeah, but what I liked about it is the CGI Yetis. Now, if only they started using that. It was by the same animation team that did, I think, Fury from the Deep, and there was always complaints about the long arms. My favourite animation team, I think they were called Planet 55, and the best animation that I've seen is from the Moon Base, Doctor Who the Moon Base, with the Cybermen, and yeah, that is it. On the whole, I did enjoy the story, but I'm glad we got it in some format. But anyway, thank you for watching, and also thank you for watching Adam's Olympic. Still coming up, as I say, the Enfield podcast. I might even leave that till October, but also we've got Pride Month coming up, and the actual event itself, which is on the 7th of July. I'm going back to, or we're going back down to Wales on the 10th of July. So, anyway, Celtic Druid Andrew, over and out. Live long and prosper.